Namaste. Welcome to another session of Festival of Oneness, which is happening at a global level to celebrate the life and works of Jagat Guru Adi Shankaracharya ji. We are now day 10, session 2, and we just want to thank everyone for taking such an active participation in this celebration of life and works of Adi Shankara, who has been a huge inspiration for thousands and thousands of sages, scholars, philosophers, I must say millions. And last 10 days, we have been looking at Adi Shankara's life and works in so many different facets. And it's been an incredible sort of, music to our soul. And today we have the honor of hearing the inspiration and insights from Advocate Sri N Venkatraman ji from Chennai. And as you all know, we are having 2 sessions every day, one in the morning at 6 o'clock India Standard Time and 6:30 p.m. So today's topic is from a senior advocate in the Supreme Court of India, and how apt it is for someone like him to teach us debating strategies. Because I've been an active proponent of encouraging young people to learn to debate, because life is all about negotiating. You have to negotiate everything, starting from being a child. So, Sir Venkatramanji, it's really an honor to have you as one of our speakers. Thank you for taking the time. And Sri Venkatramanji, he is lovingly known as NV among his group of legal fraternity. He started practice of law in 1989, almost 31 years of experience, arguing in the court about taxes, international taxation, transfer pricing, and representing so many global accounting firms, as well as fighting some really big matters for the banking industry. And all of us know how difficult it is to stand up for dharma. In fact, earlier in the week, Babaji said, life needs more dharma, not drama. And I'm sure NVG is seeing a lot of drama and replacing it with dharma. So he has so many accomplishments on the legal side, ensuring that everybody practices dharma and abides by the rules. And but I want to focus on his work on the Sanatana Dharma. He has been given the Lifetime Achievement Award by the International Association of Lions Club. And coming close to his work in Advaita philosophy, he is doing his work under the blessings of His Holiness Sri Bharati Tirtha Mahaswamigal and His Holiness Sri Vidushekar Bharati Mahaswamigal of Sringeri Peetham. He's closely associated with Veda Paripalanam through Vidya Bharati Sangha Veda Paripalana Sabha, which is a public religious charitable trust, and for which His Holiness Sri Bharati Tirtha Mahaswamigal is the sole patron. He runs a trust which is running a Veda Patashala and Shastra Patasala, housing about 60 students, and they also run a Goshala. Sri NV Ji is also managing a temple for goddess Bala Tripura Sundari in his father's village, and he is endeavoring to nurture and support the divine and pristine Sri Vidya Upasana. So again, we have been seeing over the last few days, people who are, very, very successful in their regular professional career, also pursuing, Sanatana Dharma. It doesn't have to be, either this or that. It can be both. So, Sri N Venkatraman ji, thank you so much, and we look forward to hearing your insights. You may begin your presentation.
Thank you. Shankarupena marchittam pankikritamubudhyaya kinkariyassa samaya Shankaracharyamashreye Agyanam Jannavitirtam Vidyatirtam Vivekinam Sarvesham Shukatam Tirtam Bharati Tirtamashraye Vidya Vinaya Sampannam Vitaragam Vivekinam Vande Vedanta Tattvakyam Vidushekara Bharati. My dearest Advaitis, it's a moment of great honor and pleasure to be part of this galaxy. I thank Nitin Sridhar for first introducing me into this, Ravi Shankar ji, and Srinivas. My humble pranams to all the learned scholars of Advaita who have sacrificed their lives for the cause of propagating and spreading this philosophy of our Jagat Guru Shankaracharya. And very interestingly, when I went through the various videos before coming over here to speak to you, it is so assuring to see so many young talent, young Swamis, young Swaminis, passionately putting forth their views with a lot of humility and reverence to their gurus, the various textures of or perspectives of this philosophy. With these opening remarks, let me come to the topic straight. India is a known land which accommodates multifarious religions and faiths. So inter-religious conflicts is always an inevitable route to the Indian culture and value system. Same is the case when it comes to intra-religious philosophical conflicts too. Century after century, we will see these happening continuously without interruption. Therefore, one who has to defend, one who has to debate, and propagation and protection, being all-inclusive, necessarily requires a talented debater to defend the philosophy. Therefore, the question that will arise for anybody's consideration is it enough if one has extensive, expansive knowledge, sound intellect, and eloquent speaking skills? If somebody is endowed with these three, is it sufficient to stand up and become a debater on a subject matter? Is that all debating skills mean? Our Jagat Guru Shankaracharya disproved it. And he has arrayed several requirements as essential, inevitable skills for somebody to stand up and defend any subject matter, more so Advaita. We can classify the debating skills and strategies of our Jagat Guru into the following buckets. What we need to know first is the pre-debating skills. Do you require pre-debating skills? The life of Adi Shankara proved to the dot that one certainly requires pre-debating skills. If so, what are they? They are broadly, seeing the life history of Shankara, you can say they are broadly classified into three. When he took to sannyasa at 8 and walked to Narmada to find out his guru, he could be blessed to see his guru, Govinda Bhagavat Pada. And as traditions portray, Shankara Digvijayam says, Guru who was inside the cave first put his 2 holy feet out for Shankara to receive his blessings. It is paramount and indispensable that one who has to learn a skill requires a mentor and, more importantly, the blessings of a mentor, which is lacking today in modern life. Take any school of thought, whether it's a work, whether it's a social organization, take any sort of an employment. Mentoring is conspicuous by its absence, and therefore quality suffers. Mentoring coupled with Anugraha. Shankara proved that to be indispensable. When it comes to Guru Anugraha, there are multifaceted perspectives to it, but for the purpose of today's talk, let's broadly put it into two. See, people like me, who are all into some other profession, and not into pure Vedanta as our life, aspiring to know something about it, a guru will only impart a working knowledge of it. He will say, see the ocean, see the wave, see the foam. Therefore, world, universe is of multiple names and forms. Body is not the self, and universe is illusion. Have this in mind and pursue whatever you are doing in life. It will enable you to disconnect the desirer from the desire, enable to disconnect the enjoyer from the enjoyment, and take us slowly into that path of wisdom. So it will be only a practical knowledge, considering the limitations we have. But Shankara proved that a Guru Anugraham of that nature cannot transform somebody into a debater. He served his master full time. He obtained the love and affection and care of his master full time. And his Guru finally was too happy to bestow him that knowledge which is unique, precious, and without comparison. Serving a Guru at his feet makes you a good debater. Whether it is school or whether it is college, whether it's painting, whether it's music, this applies to everything. Therefore, it is such a school. One who serves gets everything out of that subject. Therefore, who should be competent? So, Anugraham leads you to acquisition of knowledge. And what sort of a knowledge? A knowledge which is end to end and not just practical or working or just trying to, which is one-on-one, which is suitable to that devotee and for that devotee to shape his life, is different from a debater who stands up to defend the philosophy. Therefore, it should be an end-to-end knowledge. That's the second requirement. When this happens with the Guru, you become a knowledgeable person. Is that sufficient? The life of Shankara proves no. Because you want to become a debater, see the next incident, important incident that happens in Kashi, when Shiva appears before him as a hunter with 4 dogs and questions him on his philosophical conviction. And Shankara's knowledge transforms into conviction. Therefore, knowledge should mature into conviction for somebody to become a debater. All right. Is that all the prerequisite? No, there is one more. After authoring all the works between the age of 12 and 16, as Shankara was imparting, there appeared before him Bhagavan Vedavyasa in the form of a Brahmana and questioned him on the Brahma Sutra which he wrote. Chapter 3 in the first sloka, a debate which went on for 8 long days. And the disciples finally said, we see you, the Mahavishnu, in the form of Bhagavan Vyasa, and we see Shiva in the form of Shankara. This has to end somewhere. And what did Shankara say before he commenced the debate? When he inquired, I want to question you on this. He said, please do that, but let me try to answer whatever I know. So the third important quality, pre-debating quality, is knowledge transforming into conviction and becoming humble. So Guru Anugraham, acquisition of knowledge, then conviction, and finally one becomes humble in life. This becomes the prerequisite quality of a debater. Now we go to the second stage, the types of debaters which Shankara has seen. Real-time debaters, starting from the Buddhists, Jains, Charuvakyas, Kanadas, take anybody. That's one set of debaters. The second set of debaters is a worthy debater in the form of Mandana Mishra. Then an invincible debater in the form of Bhagavan Vedavyasa. A surprising debater in the form of Mata Ubaya Bharati. In fact, we are all in the era of women's emancipation, women's empowerment. Let us make it clear. Century after century, we have empowered women. Maybe history records in those times, she should have been the first judge, a woman judge of a court. And a court which decided the fate of a most important philosophy and its renaissance. So to say that Hindu Dharma doesn't permit women to progress is nothing but a mistaken assumption. So we had a debater who's a surprising debater because it was not there in the original deal. Then unworthy debaters. Take the case of Kapalikas, take the case of Navaguptas, and so on and so forth. And so finally, the sixth category of debater is sensible and sensitive debaters who are nothing but Adi Shankara's own Sishyas. Because history records the points of disputes which they had inter se argued between themselves. So, a debater must understand and size up the kind of debater he is going to face. And Shankara shows end to end. See, look at my life of 32 years. I have faced these types of debaters. So when you face, how do you interposition yourself to argue? Now comes the third stage, the temperament before the debate, just before the debate. You'll all be wondering, see, Mandana Mishra is no ordinary person. Shankara Digvijayam records, when Shiva decided to descend as Adi Shankara, several deities and divine forms descended on this earth to take different forms to ensure that the holy mission of Shankara gets achieved. So, Mandana Mishra is nobody else other than Brahma. And please read the conversation just before the debate when Shankara entered into his house. You will be surprised. Why at all this conversation in Digvijaya? Because two eminent people are meeting each other. I see it from this perspective. This is only to highlight what should be the temperament of a debater who has come here to fulfill a particular holy mission. It proves nothing else. Because imagine the conversation that has happened, and imagine it is coming from Mandana. And who were watching it? Mandana was performing the Shraddha. And who were invited? Bhagavan Vyasa and Jaimani. They are watching this. And it still happened. And Shankara Digvijayam says, when the opponent is furious, it records the fact Shankara dealt it in a very humorous style. So, it's called the body line in our court practice. It happens in war. It happens in management strategies. Trying to shake the other man through fear, through a body line attack. Trying to make him weak even before he starts. But a man with conviction, a man who has come here to accomplish a mission, can't be a victim to it. And Shankara proved he is not a victim to it and dealt it with a lot of humor and wit and said, I've come here for the debate, let's get into the debate. Therefore, this temperament is an essential requisite or a prerequisite for a good debater. Now we move to the fourth phase. Yes, when a debate actually happens, how do you take it? How do you size up the opponent? Read the debates of Adi Shankara. See, this is one avatar. Acharya keeps saying repeatedly, this is one avatar which won the battle without bloodshed. Won the battle in a human form with divine powers. And how did it happen? Extreme views, 72 multiple views could be subsumed by one philosophy. So, you are at two extremes of the boxing ring, carrying your own ideologies. So when a debate starts, if you are at the extreme ends of the boxing ring, then how do you meet the challenge to get over it? So a good debating skill or strategy which Shankara devised was to ensure and invite that the opponent first slowly moves from his extreme view to the middle. You read any debate of Adi Shankara. He would open up the arguments wherever necessary, which he did it in the case of, say, Mandana's arguments. But he will always allow the other side also to open up and listen to his or her view patiently. Unless you allow the other man to speak, he won't come towards the center for you to take on him. It's a simple, elementary strategy, but requires patience, requires tolerance. These are the two features one should possess as a DNA when you are on your foot to debate, which Shankara had possessed at every point of time. And therefore, he moved it, all debaters moved to the center. Once they moved to the center through persuasion, he shifted the next gear. He never hurt or assaulted their ego at any point of time during the debate. The conversation with Mandana before the debate and the conversation with Mandana during the debate are extremely different. So, a man will continue his argument. He can stay on course only if you don't assault his ego. You don't prick him, his sensitive areas. Allow him. He is free to say what he wants to say. Give him the time. So he did that as the second strategy. And once he did that, then he started to release his counter strategies to say how he can look this differently. And if you start looking at this differently, how your view will be subsumed into his principal view. See, this climax of the third is very important. That is a message which needs to be conveyed to all of you. See, Bhagavan Shankara could see Vyasa, could meet Shiva, and when Kapalika was about to take his head, Lord Narasimha came through Padmapada. When he was suffering because of black magic, Ashwini Devatas appeared before him. So there are several instances of divine forms appearing before him. But read his debates. You will not find Shankara fatigued, Shankara appearing desperate, Shankara looking for some help somewhere. So these divine forms, the divine truth, including the Vedic tenets and the Upanishads, came to Shankara in two forms. His entire debating strategy rested on just two principles: Satyam and Dharma. Therefore, you needn't have, if you have these two in your debating part, everything will be inside it, because Satyam and Dharmam contains everything. And he was sure. His conviction was his philosophy is Satyam and his philosophy is the Dharmam. And that enabled him to, first he brought it in the middle, two allowed him to argue, three counter-argued. use Satyam and Dharmam to conquer the opponent. And he reached the other extreme of the ring. The whole ring became his. Now come to the post-debating strategy. Look here, it's very important. The opponent can lose a debate, but you should not lose the opponent. That's one of the elementary principles of any debating standards. Never lose the opponent. And two, you will not lose the opponent only if you have done two things, because it's a consequence of what you are during the debate. A, don't assault his ego. And two, choice of expressions should be such that it does not inflict hatred either to that individual who debates or group of individuals who debate, or finally in the ideology itself. So these culminate ultimately, that is how he could swallow 72 different schools of thought into one and comfortably make everybody look fine after the closure of the debate. Now, finally, we come to the judging standards, how judgments were delivered in the lifetime of Shankara. There are 2-3 varieties. In the case of Kumarila Bhatta, when he chose to go and meet the king and fight with the Buddhists, the king said, truth based on knowledge is very relative. So whoever is more powerful will win. Therefore, I can't be a judge to decide. So I'll put one test. Whoever is able to jump out of the mountain, then that philosophy is Satyam. Kumarila Bhatta did it within no time. And he fell down like a ball of cotton would fall without any hurt, says Shankara Digvijayam. But the Buddhists did not agree for that. And he said, okay, we'll have one more contest. He kept something inside the pot, which was a snake, concealed it, and said, which school is able to identify the truth, that school will be the winner. Both took time for a day, returned back. The Kumarila Bhatta's school was praying for the whole night. So when the Buddhists came back the next morning, in a flash of a moment, they said, this contains snake. Whereas Kumarila Bhatta said, I see Mahavishnu lying on a serpent bed there. The king was shocked because what he put inside was a snake. Came the wisdom saying, please open it. Kumarila Bhatta is right. And when they opened, they found Mahavishnu lying on a serpent bed. Therefore, the judgment was based on complete divine surrender and divine power. That's one form of delivery of judgment, which schools accepted. The second form was making the opponent's wife a judge in the case of Mandana Mishra and Ubhay Bharati. And see the neutrality she maintained in spite of being the wife of an opponent. So she also preserves Satyam and Dharma. Now, therefore, these two forms of judgment got delivered. And the final judgment, all of us know, Sarvakya Pitam, when he wanted to ascend the throne, if the Kannadas questioned him, the Shankyas questioned him, the Nyayas questioned him, the Digambaras questioned him, Buddhists questioned him. And finally he ascended. Mata Sharada questioned him and finally declared, you are entitled to occupy the throne of transcendental wisdom. So these are the types of judgments delivered in those days. But today, we are not in that era. The modern era is what? What does democracies all over the world say? You are entitled to your view. I am entitled to my view. So first, in any debate, you need parties to debate. Then you need a judge to decide. And more importantly, you need a wager. What happens if somebody loses? These three should fructify. Only then a debate can mature into a result. See, today, we don't have that. You are entitled to your views, I am entitled to my views. So we will all keep loading whatever views we want to say. Right or incorrect, it's immaterial. I'm free. I have the right to express a wrong view. That's today. So How do you generate a debating standard today in 2020? That's how I should conclude in the next, say, 4 or 5 minutes. So we have reached a stage where you don't have judges, or even if you have judges, the contending parties do not want their contentions to be judged at all. But they keep loading public domain with whatever occurs to them. Therefore, how do we handle such a debate? This is what I thought I will leave it as a message for today's talk. We have this whole month is filled with great exponents and done with so much of humility and so much of preparation. What can we finally consolidate? See, two things. Acharya, every Acharya in their Anugraha Bhashanam keeps saying this. You take the 12th century debate. You take Chandrasekhar Bharati Mahaswamigal, Jagadguru Srimad Chandrasekhar Bharati debate. When a Pandit wanted to put a new point of view and a new example, Acharya waited for 2.5 days. When he had to give the closing remarks, said, why Shankara did not use that example for this reason. Two things are very, very clear to us. Two things. We should only employ those two things. And as an Advaita, we run that advantage. What is that advantage? A, Brahman is complete. Our philosophy has the biggest advantage. There is nothing we need to add to complete it. Nor do we find something in excess in Brahman which needs to be subtracted. Therefore, there is no need for a value addition, says Acharya. There is the need for a value addition to Brahman. So any attempt in that direction will only make you more and more egoistic. Come to Adi Shankara. Can you say, any one of us say, oh, come on, it's all fine, but Adi Shankara lacked this quality here. He should have been better had he had this quality. Give us one quality which is missing in Adi Shankara. Likewise, put the counter. Can you find out one quality which is in excess in Adi Shankara? It was a picture perfect avatar. So when you have both in fullness, what is our difficulty in consolidating all the counter argument? We have a need now to document, reinvent every of the sutra as being counter-attacked, record the counter-attack, register that, and how Adi Shankara, is there any counter-argument which he has left out to us? Show that this is the argument, and we should complete that preparation for this generation to say, the 72 schools of thought which he has fought, take it. This is what Shankara's original commentary says. Sadashiva Samarambam, Shankaracharya Madhyamam, Asmatacharya Paryantam, Vande Guru Parampara. Thank you so much, Ravi. Thank you, Nitin. And thank you, Srinivas.
Namaste, sir. That was just wonderful, wonderful. And people are saying Sastanga Pranams to you for the wonderful delivery. In my mind, I'm just thinking how can you mentor thousands of advocates, young people, to stand up to our Sanatana Dharma? And, because ultimately it is about fighting the forces. And you very clearly said, bringing 72 different people into one way of thought without bloodshed, with the simple strategies about pre-debating, preparation, really extremely well done. And I wish we had more time to talk about it. We should do a paper together on this, definitely, so that we can amplify your message.
I'm blessed with one good, fortunate opportunity. I'm working with a university, of a law university, which is grounded on Sanatana Dharma and believes in that philosophy. So we do lectures there, taking the latest judgments of the Supreme Court on constitutional morality and so many other perspectives, and teach them what is our culture and tradition, and how should constitution gel with our tradition. And what you say, we are attempting it in a humble way, in one set of students in an university. That's the little which we could do as of now.
Wonderful, sir. And we will expand on it. I will connect with you because we started the talk with mentoring, which is my life's mission. So I'm personally honored to listen to you to talk about the power of mentorship, because I consider Adi Shankara as our world's mentor. So extremely well articulated, and you made a very good argument on your presentation, that we should all learn from Adi Shankara himself on how to handle everyday debates with full conviction, and seeking the anugraham of a guru, and maintaining complete calmness. And you talked about not putting down the ego of the other person. So if only every democracy in the world sort of follows this kind of debating, then both Satyam and Dharma will stand. And so we have a duty to preserve it and also pass it on to the next generation. So thank you very much. That was wonderful. There are a few questions, sir. Somebody wants to see an example when the Adi Shankara style of debating is something that you have utilized in any of your debates. Is there any example you can give?
In fact, yeah, I can tell you 2 examples, one for and one against. I am a person who will normally not lose my cool in the course of an argument. So that has been more or less a strength. Very recently, say 3 months back, we were arguing a case against a person who was incorrigibly a fraudster. You can't measure the standards. But he was getting the audience of the court, which he is entitled to, and he was going on and on and on with facts, figures, everything as damn lies. I stood up and for the first time raised my voice and shouted against him. And the judge said, "This is unbecoming of you, and I don't want to continue the hearing for the day," and said, "We'll meet tomorrow." So one of the senior most advocates of that court, who I consider him as a godfather, said, "Why did you do that?" So when you lose your cool, when you assault, see, he assaulted me, I should have remained quiet. I re-assaulted him, and that landed up in the displeasure of a judge. He understood the other man is a fraudster, but he said, "Why did you do it?" So this was a live example which happened 3 months back. And now studying for this talk gives me the conviction how wrong I was and how I should never repeat it in my life. So I should share a negative perception rather than a positive, so that it gets into the mind.
Mm-hmm. How humble you are, how that you are saying,
every day is a learning. Yeah. Every day it's a learning.
all of us have been sort of guilty of of doing that. Wonderful, excellent example. Even when your opponent assaults you, you show your strength. And Adi Shankara, you've given a fantastic example.
Yes.
So you said that in your talk, that the Mandana Mishra's and Adi Shankara's sort of debate, is that Q&A and everything has been documented?
Yeah. If you read Shankara Digvijayam, more than, you can say it is Q&A, but if you read Shankara Digvijayam, Madhavi Shankara Digvijayam, they take it from stage to stage, because Mandana kept on saying that you are talking of a theory which is illusion. You are talking of a theory which is intangible. And without mantra and without the impact of a mantra giving a result, we just don't understand. This is how it started. And finally, he conquered Mandana to say that, see, that's why, in fact, Acharya repeatedly says, and we should also believe, conventional school always believes. Look at the life of Shankara. Why should he compose so many hymns, slokas? Why should he visit so many temples? And why should he integrate Karmakanda as a seamless connect, as Purva Mimamsa and Uttara Mimamsa to say, they are one single line. The journey starts from here and ends there. So classical school never advocates dispensation of Karma Yoga and Bhakti Yoga. They will do the Chitta Shuddhi. Acharya says, why should you pray for forms? See, we are so tuned to forms and names. So you migrate to divine forms and divine names and put the same time into a divine concentration. It's a movement, lateral. It's not a waste of time. Once the mind gets prepared, then you can dispense that and go to the next stage, because Vedanta requires a strong, undisturbed, focused, determined mind. So this is what is very important in driving the message. You can't dispense one. Whether you say bhakti and karma will lead you to moksha, no. Whether jnana and yoga will directly lead you to moksha, no. You need a combination. You see, somebody born directly to take it should have. They always say should have spent his time in some birth. Traveling this distance is something which you can certainly find it out in the course of the. It's there in the Digvijayam itself.
Perfect, perfect. So we will find the resource and share it on our website. Now, nowadays, because of social media, there is a lot of debates happening sort of in a group, right? You go to Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, people are debating. Do any of the same strategies work if there is a big group that you're debating with, or is it even worth doing it in a group?
See, to spread awareness, it's fine. But to penetrate, it doesn't work. I thought I should avoid this, but still I'll give one. Do I have 2-3 minutes time?
Yes, please. Yeah. Please continue.
See, I thought I should avoid it, but still I'll put it. Before I came to this talk, 3 days I was surfing the net, which is the most talked subject of Shankara, which is the most attacked issue of Adi Shankara. I find public domain filled with comments about why Adi Shankara took to a dead body and then learned the craft and came back and fought with Ubaya Bharati. Shankara Digvijayam in just half a page addresses that issue. Simple answer. When you are in a dream, suppose all of us go to sleep and we are in dreams. In your dream, if you kill somebody, can you be booked for murder? You can't be booked for murder. So Shankara, when Padmapada raises this question, Shankara Bhagavad gives an answer. For a Jivan Mukta, world is an illusion, it's a dream. You perform yajnas after yajnas in the dream, will it fetch you results? If you perform murder after murder, will it give any result? So this is the benchmark answer. Now what does this public domain say? They make the alloy, where the changeless self and the changeful self, which works in our regular life, they deal Shankara as an alloy and keep questioning this again and again and again. Whereas the fundamental answer is Shankara is not an alloy because it's a Jivan Mukta. Therefore, my appeal would be, it is good for awareness, but today's mind, each mind has a free thinking. In a Gurukula, in a Sishya Guru transmission of knowledge, it gives you the right to question only after understanding what the Guru teaches. You are entitled to question, but only after learning it. Now, even before learning, half learning, no learning, reasonable learning, unreasonable learning, you start occupying. This is the challenge I see in mass communication. Therefore, you take only such topics which can be of common interest to everybody. And take.
There's lots and lots of questions about this, and some people are asking, I wish you spoke in Tamil, because there are some people whose native language is Tamil. So I have a question. In today's democratic situation in India or anywhere in the world, have you found a good role model debater who is sort of comes close to these principles?
I have seen both senior lawyers and senior judges having these qualities in my profession. Certainly, because two things are embedded in them. They may be the most senior, most lawyer, but they will be humble sans ego. And they are totally informed on the subject or the case which they are arguing. I've seen such judges. They are there even today in Supreme Court. You have such judges where if you tell him his own judgment is wrong for this view, he'll be ready to say, yeah, I made a mistake, let me correct. So this is possible. But when it comes to our philosophy, we need to consolidate. We see, that's why I said, if you take only Brahman and Shankara and his commentary, that can be a converging point to find out the best debater who will put the foot forward for us and defend us.
Fantastic, fantastic. That's a very good closing, and I hope all the young people get to listen to this fundamentals of debating, and we let's hope that we are our future leaders of India, in business, in politics, in spirituality, everywhere, are sort of following these so-called dharmic principles, and which then essentially stands up what you said, Satyam and Dharma. That's it. If those two are standing, there is no reason to argue for anything.
No compromise on that. No compromise. Acharya usually says this example. I'll close with this 1 minute.
Yes, please.
He says, see, there are several classical truths emerging out of both Ramayana and Mahabharata. But there is one truth which is which is of paramount importance. The whole of Rama, whole life of Rama, there was struggle. But he finally ended up as Rama. 95% of life of Ravana was happiness, but he finally got assaulted. Take the case of Yudhishthira, a whole life journey, he was suffering. Whereas in the case of Duryodhana, 95% of his life was happiness. So, adharma is very easy to practice. And it will give you instantaneous happiness. Dharma and truth are very difficult to practice. But finally, what wins is only dharma. Acharya will say, will you name your child as Surpanaka? Will you name your child as Dhritarashtra or Duchadana? But we name our child as Rama, Arjuna or Dharma. That's where Satyam and Dharmam lies. It will always win. We should have that conviction.
Beautiful. Beautiful, sir. With that closing statement, thank you so much for your time and for your insights. And we hope we get to feature you again, because at least, in my heart, this festival should not end with this month. There has to be more discussions, and you should mentor more people so that this legacy continues. Thank you very much, sir.
I'm grateful to each one of you. Thanks to Nitin Sridhar and you specially. Thank you so much to every listener who has been with me. Thank you.
Yes, we had a record number of of people today.
Oh,
over 150 people today, and there will be thousands more who will watch your talk online.